So hello and welcome to the video. It's an exciting day today because I'm going on an aeroplane. Now, the more astute amongst you will have immediately noticed that I don't have a voice, and that's because I'm at the very tail end of a cold. The first cold I've had in about 2 years, but it is a cold, it's not the you-know-what. I have taken a couple of tests and they have come back negative, so I am fit to fly. But because I don't have any voice, I'm going to hand over to voiceover guy to do this next bit. So over to you.
Thanks, me. One of my first videos ever started with me moaning that it had been 6 months since I'd last flown. That's this video here. Oi, point! Oh, I can't get the staff. That was my longest spell grounded for 18 years. Hey, I can still see you. After some short trips last autumn, we were all locked up again, and when I started this trip, it had been 333 days since I'd last flown. That is now the longest time I'd been grounded in 29 years.
Now, I could have flown well before now, and many people have. Indeed, some creators don't appear to have ever really stopped travelling. But I've been hesitant to travel internationally, even though my channel is now monetised, so it is legitimately my business to get out there. The ongoing restrictions mean it's still not a normal experience, either when travelling or when you're at your destination, although a poll I recently ran suggests that you guys don't really care. So as re-entering the UK has just got several notches easier, I booked a trip to Malaga. It ended up being a flight I'll remember for a very long time, although sadly not because of anything BA did. So if you want to find out what happened, stick around.
Hi, I'm Matt. Over the last 25 years, I've travelled a lot. I've lived in 5 countries on 4 continents. I've flown over 1.3 million miles. I've visited over 100 countries, every American state, but I'm nowhere near done. So subscribe to the channel so you can come with me.
It was a 4 PM flight, which meant I was able to get to Heathrow by public transport. This is much cheaper than driving and parking, and it also removed the risk of missing the flight as a result of climate protesters gluing themselves to motorways. It also meant that I didn't have to queue up for 12 hours to get fuel. For my non-UK viewers, it's all a bit weird here at the moment. 55 minutes to King's Cross on Britain's fastest train, Asterisk. If you'd like to know more about the train or the Asterisk, then check out this video. It was quite busy at St Pancras, but after a medium-length hike to the Dickapilly line, the tube was very quiet. A mere 25 stops later, you'll be at Heathrow. About 2¼ hours from Folkestone to the terminal all told, which is just about as quick as you will ever do it if parking a car at the airport. And Heathrow was pretty busy. It was quite a joyful experience to see the place so full. Now, with every country having different requirements for travel, checking people in is a complete nightmare, so I think a large part of this busyness came from the added bureaucracy surrounding travel. Spain demanded that a moderate amount of work be done in the days before departure, uploading vaccination data and so on, but it was relatively smooth and relatively painless, and all the information flowed into BA's systems, such that I was able to check in online 24 hours before departure, as I would in normal times. BA's IT gets a bad rap, but you can tell that some good work has been done in this area. If you're not computer literate or don't even have a computer, this travel admin is going to be quite difficult for you. I have BA Gold status, so I was able to breeze past the worst of the lines and use the first wing. It really took no time to get through security, which I don't film, and the reward for all the admin is a selfie with this horse. The first lounge, or phalange as it's known, was really busy. I wondered whether tables had been spaced out a bit and so had reduced in number for social distancing reasons. I also stuck my head into the galleries lounge for another video I'm working on, and it was probably less busy than the phalange had been. You still need to use an ordering app for refreshment, although you could now at least get a bottle of water without assistance. This app works well, and I tested it a few times for you, dear viewer. Things were with me in between 2 and 6 minutes, which I think is fair enough, given it was quite busy. And that was water, not gin. English sparkling wine today rather than champagne. I still don't really like it, but having a glass in the phalange is a hard habit to break. I thought the range of things on offer was a little narrow, certainly narrower than when the buffet was in place. Offering a hot dog is an interesting choice. I always feel I need to eat a loaded hot dog sitting on plastic sheeting, naked and with a shower nearby, but maybe that's just me. So refreshed and refuelled and having munched through another handful of ibuprofen tablets, it was off for boarding. B-gates today, which necessitates a ride on the choo-choo. That was the queue to immigrate into the UK, by the way. Now this isn't a video about the you-know-what, but I have to reinforce that Heathrow's risk mitigation strategy with this interterminal train is to chuck everyone together and hope for the best. Boarding was back to the old group system, which I think I was pleased to see. It marked a clear step back towards normality, even if there are good arguments for always loading from the back, as had been the case when group boarding was suspended. A sanitising wipe was handed out. I think we're all at the stage now where you kind of hope that BA has already sanitised everything it needed to. I was in seat 3A. The plane was an Airbus A321neo, which is some of the newest aircraft in the BA fleet, but they were acquired when BA was trying to squeeze every pound of profit out of every decision they took. So even though this is a business class product, the legroom was awful, worse than you get in the back of a Ryanair plane. Next time I'll take a thinner book. They do keep the middle seat free, but it's a really poor offering, particularly when you consider that BA now uses these planes to service Cairo and Amman. Offering this hard product on a 5-hour flight when some of your competition offers wide-body aircraft must be unsustainable for BA. Otherwise, there's very little to say about the seat. It was clean, everything worked, including the in-seat power socket, but it's an economy product branded as business class. Instead of fixing business capacity by having a specific business seat, BA can easily increase the size of the business cabin by moving the curtain back to accommodate demand. The business class seat you're in today may well have been sold as an economy class seat yesterday. Now BA is by no means unique among the European carriers in doing this, and I think their shareholders love it, but it's not a strategy that is customer focused. I don't believe they ever have anything less than 4 rows of business, so they could at least improve the seating in these very front rows, but nope, they want to maximise revenues by cramming everyone in. I'm making a video where I'll talk about whether BA's business offering is worth it, and I'll pick this subject up in that video, so give the subscribe button a click if you haven't already to make sure YouTube lets you know when that video is out. And while you're at it, give the like button a donk and leave me a comment too. It's always great to hear from you. Well, almost always. I'm planning a video about some of the odder comments I've received too. So, did the excellence of the soft product make up for these shortcomings? Well, dear viewer, it didn't. We ended up with 12 rows of business class, so as many as 48 passengers, which was just too many for the 2 and then 3 flight attendants to offer any sort of quality service. There were no menus, whether that's normal or because of the you-know-what wasn't clear, but it meant service took twice as long as it needed to, as everything needed to be explained. First up was a drink service, where they also distributed wine, which needed the options to be explained. Then there were 3 meal options, which needed to be explained to each and every passenger. 2 vegetarian options, one of which was a very anemic looking beetroot salad, the other a pasta dish, or bangers and mash. I thought that was a very disappointing set of choices and had expected quite a lot more. I opted for the bangers and mash, which were very good. The way airline food is cooked and reheated means that this is a technically difficult dish to execute on a plane, but it was quite delicious. But as there was no menu, you didn't know what the rest of the meal was. Obviously, you could self-identify what was in the salad, but I have no idea what the dessert was. And of course, the turbulence arrives at the same time as the food. It was a good 40 minutes before I was able to attract an attendant's attention to get a wine refill. I'm not one to ding the bell except in an emergency, particularly when I know they're so busy. The crew were also pretty slow to clear used service items, and twice they quite remarkably took some of the rubbish and left me holding the rest of it. The views out of the window were superb though. I've really missed watching the world slip past. It ended up only taking 2 hours and 20 minutes to reach Malaga, and the views as we swept over the coast and into land were superb.
We landed, and the effort I'd put into completing the Spanish check-in documents paid off, as it was one of the quickest airport transits I can remember. A passport check, and my passport got a stamp now the UK has left the EU, a scan of the QR code on my locator form, a temperature check which didn't require me to even break pace, and I was through.
So was I annoyed by the poor service? Well, no I wasn't, and that was because of my seatmate. I don't usually go out of my way to chat to people, especially when I'm documenting the flight for a video, but my seatmate was an extremely interesting chap.
I've tried hard not to include anything that might reveal his identity. I gave him a business card for this channel, so perhaps he'll declare his identity in the comments. He had some mobility issues, and Heathrow had failed to provide him with any assistance through the terminal, despite assistance having been booked. Incidentally, that's why there's no loo review in this video, because I didn't want to inconvenience him to get 20 seconds of video of an airplane toilet, and we all know what they look like. Quite understandably, his Heathrow experience had been quite distressing. It's a very long way from check-in to gate if you're having to do it without any assistance. He needed to vent about that, and he was also quite anxious as to whether Malaga airport would let him down as well. We were having a great conversation, so I did what every reasonable chap would in that situation, which was to offer him a piggyback. He declined, which I'm pretty grateful for, to be honest with you, but when we got to the gate I did nip ahead and was able to see that there was a wheelchair provided for him. And from the name that the wheelchair had been reserved under, I realised that my seatmate was a very high-ranking member of the British aristocracy. So I will remember this flight for a very long time. Not for the poor service, not for the views out of the window, and not for being my first flight in almost a year, but I will remember this as the flight where I offered a Duke a piggyback. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Please give this video a like, leave me a comment, I'd love to hear from you, and subscribe if you're new. So I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.